boycotting of the Word Network. While there was great applause and great gestures going on the inside of the network, there was even a greater arisement that was going on the outside. If you just take a look at this video, we'll explain to you exactly what it is that you're seeing. Take it
Reverend Ryder, what do you think about the Word Network?
I think the Word Network is a racist operation, and I think that it's a slave plantation, and the black Christians and black people need to come off the Word Network now. They need to come off the Word Network today. Everybody that's on the Word Network is showing that they do not care about racism against black people, brown people, and people of color. Racism is America's worst beginning sin, and racism has to stop now. Kevin Adell has to stop with the racist remarks. He has to stop with the racist memes that's being sent around to black preachers. He's got to stop disrespecting our black women, our black men, period. And we're saying to you, get off the Word Network and get on the Now Network. Let's establish our own black network. This is the world's largest slave plantation.
Wow, some powerful words from our protesters that took place. Joining us today is Onyx News contributor, Dr. Bernard Jordan. Dr. Jordan, what do you think about what we just saw?
Nia, this shows listen, the owner of the network texted out a meme, a picture of him and four preachers behind him as he is the pimp and they are the hoes. The people got enraged as they began to see this. These are individuals walking in the rain. It is cold outside. They are freezing. It's about 50 folks that are out there. And they are holding up signs saying slave plantation. They're calling it Kevin Adell has got to go. They're beginning to say, take it off of the Word Network, the Plantation Network, and get onto the Now Network. Now, when I began to do my research and find out what is the Now Network, the Now Network is an African American Christian network that many people did not even know that the Now Network even existed. And so when you begin to look here you have a white man saying he is the owner of the largest African American network. He got people behind him posing as hoes, which are preachers, which is Creflo Dollar, Kirk Franklin, Joshua Holmes, and Bishop Bloomer. Bishop Bloomer began to tell him that this is not acceptable, and he says you're too sensitive, and he calls Bishop Bloomer Tattoo, which is the midget or the short person there on, with Fantasy Island, and who calls Mr. Rorick boss. He says, you're my tattoo. He said, this is not funny, this is equivalent to blackface. He turned around and takes a marker in a picture with him and another white guy, and he blackens the guy's face and texts it to Bishop Bloomer. When I saw these things, I was enraged. Bishop Bloomer was so upset. He thought that his friends on the network and people he brought on the network, which means Bishop Bloomer is having what I call an African American Christian Negro wake-up call. He didn't realize that his friends were plantation preachers. Now, what do I mean by that? They're there to secure the plantation, not the dignity of black people. So they stay on the network and turn seemingly against Bloomer. But listen, it gets even worse. With all of this going on inside the network, some other things began to erupt, Nia. And I tell you, this is not going away because they want the Word Network off of every cable home in America. They want it shut down. They want it off because there's some more things that have taken place that it is so insensitive that when he spoke, Kevin Adell spoke to the National American Black Journalists. Listen, they told him to apologize and that he needed sensitivity training. He says, I will not apologize, white privilege. I don't need sensitivity training, white privilege. And then he says, and I'm going to sue you because how dare you question me?
Wow, how dare you point out my flaws? How dare you point out the things that continue to plague this nation at large? So Bishop Bloomer is now gone, and we still have a vast majority of other leaders that are still there at the Word Network. But it's not without cause. There was another incident going on inside of the Word Network. And take a look at this video, and it'll show you how the people are feeling about this.
To figure out, Lord, should I even go? Blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about coming here. And one of the things that the Lord spoke to me was, are you a prophet in the church? Yes. Are you a prophet at work? Yes. Are you a prophet at church? So then you be a prophet. One of the things that we are supposed to speak about is injustice. I find it very interesting, and God, y'all pray for me. I find it very interesting that we have the ability to talk about this, but we can't talk about the fact that we're at the Word Network and there hasn't been an apology yet regarding some of the other stuff that's been said and done here. I know I'll probably never get invited back, and I'm sorry. But the ability for us to deal with one thing and not deal with the rest is part of the issue that's happening in the church right now. Y'all pray for me. I'm sorry, Bishop. But the fact of the matter is, if we are going to deal with the racist shooter, then we have to deal with the racist emotional shooter, the ones that come in and allow us to do stuff like this, and then we still don't address it and get a simple apology.
I don't think an apology, and no disrespect to you.
Please speak up.
I don't think an apology needs to be made from the Word Network. Simply that because these are all accusations that were made and nobody knows the underlying truth of what really took place.
You should speak on something you don't know nothing about.
The fact of the matter is, and I bid you no disrespect, as I drove in, I seen all these people out there boycotting or whatever, and that was the most ignorant thing I could have ever seen in my life. Because nobody knew what happened behind closed doors. Everybody is getting their information.
All right, since we want to deal with this. Hold on.
Can I finish this statement?
No. Hold on. Let me say this. First of all, I think it's very disrespectful to come in somebody else's house and use the platform that we gave you to say anything about a personal matter that's between two people. Now, I've been here 13 years. And so you say if you know me, then you know that I am a fair person. And so if I'm still here, then there's more to it than you know. So to use this opportunity to do that is, to me, just, since you did it on here, that I'm going to rebuke over here.
You should have inquired of him and asked him questions
Right.
before you decided.
People have called me from all over the country, and they, no, hold on, no, it's not. No. But you're on this platform.
You should have asked Bishop
You don't
Davis.
come in another man's platform. It'd be just like I come in your platform and say something out of order in your church. So as a bishop and a senior man,
Yes, sir.
since you want to do it in open, I rebuke you in open.
Yes, sir.
And say to you that you're out of order.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wow. There was a lot that was said there on several sides. I just want to know what you think. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, after seeing that video and hearing some of the things that were said.
Listen, you got to be in shock. Here is a young man. Well, first of all, they had these young preachers, and it was titled Us Against Them. Well, he got the us against them. Because while they was trying to discuss this issue about what happened down in Texas, this young man stood up and said, wait a minute. Before we can deal with the doo-doo in Texas, let's deal with the doo-doo at our door. And all Bishop Davis is saying, the doo-doo at our door don't stink, but the one in Texas does. Listen, we have a situation here whereby he brought something up inside this plantation network and told them, say, listen, and it's a typical example of the, in Django, I think the man name is Steven. I mean, this is like Django revisited. And so it is like the house Negro is trying to tell the field Negro, you need to behave yourself because we're going to have you kicked off the plantation. And he kind of hints to that. He says, you're probably not going to have me back anymore, because this is almost similar to what has happened with even Kirk Franklin in one of the other stories that you've done. When your voice starts to move towards the empowerment of your people or demanding your humanity, or you begin to affirm Black Lives Matter, you're demonized. What is also interesting in this meme of Kevin Adell dressed up as a pimp and preachers behind him, Kirk Franklin, Joshua Holmes, George Bloomer, and Creflo Dollar, the only one that spoke out publicly has been George Bloomer. But guess what? We still haven't heard Kirk Franklin. He's boycotting the TBN, but he hasn't boycotted the Word Network yet, and they used his black body as a hoe. Listen, this shows you that there is something sick in the theology, sick in the church, when you cannot lend your voice. Silence of your oppression is more wicked than the oppression of your enemy. And so Kirk Franklin's been silent, Creflo Dollar's been silent, Joshua Holmes been silent. Now this young man, Reverend Ray, has now, he's feeling the pressure, and they're coming down on him because he began to say, Kevin Adell owes us an apology as a community. They're trying to say it's private. Nope, it's public. And why is it public? You got protesters outside with signs saying Kevin Adell has got to go. He just want to know the mess at this door stinks just as much as the mess in Texas.
Well, I applaud Pastor Ray for saying and doing what he did, for standing up for what's right, because ultimately that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stand for justice for everyone, but he stood up for justice for Black Americans. And if we don't stand up for justices for ourselves, then we need to have the issues that we currently have. Thank you so much, Dr. Jordan, for amazing contributing and speaking out against this issue. And as always, we appreciate having you on Onyx News.
Thank you, Nia.